Go to Facebook, go to my Facebook page. Okay. I'm going. Okay, Stephanie, you're on. Stephanie Bliss. Can you hear me? Okay, so I worked with your. We're not live yet, but I'm
Oh,
just letting you know. I mean, we are kind of live, but I'm going to go over your floor plan and basically without getting into too much detail, this is what I calculated to be your layout. I calculated the shape of your house to be like this.
mm,
Walls, not roofs, but walls.
oh, okay, okay.
This is a part of your room. This is open area. Um, hold on a second, I gotta get.
Let me see that one.
Uh, it's basically what I saw because this is your front door, right?
Where is it? Yes, that's one of them.
Yeah, I identified 1 and 2 over here as doors and a third one over here.
Right. I'm just looking at this because the one I just worked on that I sent you is a little different. And I'm pulling up this picture so I can see it better because
All
I
right.
can't
So
see
what
that
we're gonna
real
do,
well.
Stephanie, we'll just go with this for the time being. I'll bring up some of my
Uh-huh.
points. I think it's correct. And then we'll go through it. We'll have you be the first one. How's that? All right.
Okay.
So
Yep.
just
Thank
stay
you.
tuned. Okay. I'm gonna mute you right
Yep.
now. All right. All right. Okay, great. Wow. We have technology working in our favor today. And I'm going to stop sharing for the time being until we get okay. It is exactly 1 minute less than Vastu, and we'll be starting in about 30 seconds. I've got everything. I've got everything streaming from every which direction, guys. Um, so hold on a second. I've got people wanting to share. Let's see. Let's go. Okay. Zoom. And, all right. All right. I've got a bunch of people kind of, this is a very, so we're live everywhere. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram, we're live on Zoom, and we're going to record this beautiful session. Cole entered the room. Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay. Stephanie, can you get more light so we can see your face, show expressions? That'd be great. If whatever you got. If you don't, it's okay. Don't worry about it. All right. Let me do the record on this computer or to this computer. Fantastic. Okay, guys, welcome and thank you for joining this fantastic Vastu um, webinar that's free. And we have a lot of content that we're going to be going over today. I want to thank everyone for joining in. And it'll be very exciting because we have literally more than four plans, but I only chose this afternoon the 4, which I thought were easiest to go into it. So I want to thank everyone for joining, and we're going to just jump right in with the first of 4 Vastu consultations. So bear in mind, everybody, that I'm working with everybody, everybody's floor plan here, but I usually don't, what I usually do is I measure everything, and when I do a consultation, I go out to a person's location and I really look at measuring, and Vastu is a science. So just so everybody watching knows a little bit about me, I studied the Vastu science, which is Vedic architecture, and it was created or modified and brought into book form by Shikalshwar. And I lived in India for 14 years from 1998 to 2012. And during that time, I was able to witness, participate, assist in Swami Kaleshwar's development of the principles into book form when it was finally released in early 2009. And it took quite a bit, and it took many, many people collaborating together. It's all in Sri Kaleshwar's words. In fact, we named it as Kaleshwara Vastu. And it really takes the existing Vastu Shastra that is known throughout the world, and he really added quite a bit of dynamics. So my name's Paul Aurier, and I got to spend 14 years in India, doing a tremendous amount of spirituality. And in addition to that, I was able to be one of only a handful of people. I think there's 9 or 10 certified Kaleshwar Vastu teachers in the world. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 or 5 in the United States, and maybe the same amount in Europe. And these are people that really dove in and really assisted and worked with Sri Kaleshwar to the extent of being able to understand and demonstrate the principles that were there. For myself, I was blessed and had the great fortune to be able to, on 3 different world tours with Sri Kaleshwar, to travel with him and go to many of the Vastu houses that he did in the United States, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and various other places in Europe. And I saw things that I couldn't really understand. And it took me a long time to comprehend the depth and the breadth of Vastu Shastra. Swami Kaleshwar said that spirituality is 2 sides of the same coin. One part is the mantras, yantras, and the ancient techniques of spirituality that is part of a successful spiritual life. But he also said that the other 50% to the success of spirituality is intimately linked with how much you follow Vastu Shastra in your life. And it took me a while to really understand that, but I began to experience and understand how important Vastu Shastra was, not only for your material wealth and success, but also for your spiritual wealth and prosperity and expansion. Because it deals with energies of the 5 elements and the placement of those elements in your floor plan and in your environment. And hopefully in today's webinar, I'll be able to show and demonstrate some of the principles and how it affects based on these 4 floor plans that several of you have submitted. So if there's no questions, I am going to jump in and go through this with you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to learn. And given the amount of time, we only have about an hour. Given the amount of time that we have, this is a very extensive but yet streamlined approach to grasp the significant influences on a property and a house so that people can understand how it affects. Okay. So I'm going to begin by sharing a floor plan with you. We're going to go through several floor plans. And today's floor plan, before I get into this particular floor plan, I'm going to get into first, for the sake of identification, we're going to call it the Olga floor plan, which is a phenomenal floor plan. And I actually got to talk a little bit with her to clarify some of the points. And what I do is I use a program that allows me to develop and to work with a floor plan and understand it from the cardinal directions. So I did confirm that this particular floor plan that you see here, I'm going to show you the configuration of the floor plan so that you can understand a little bit easier, because it can be very confusing. But what I do on any particular floor plan. Can everybody see this? Okay, good. All right. So I highlighted it in yellow. Obviously, north is directly above everything else here. And then what I did was I outlined the whole building. I didn't focus on the roof, but the building, because it's the buildings that are the energetic boundaries within your house, right? And so I had to determine, okay, what are the building walls into the property, right? And that tells me a lot right there. Then the second thing I do when I analyze a property is I look at where the entrances are. And under this particular configuration, you have two entrances to this living space. You have the north over here, and then you have the south over here. Okay. So then I take a look at it, and then I put that boundary in a box. Okay. So what I do is, this is the boundary of your square, and I put everything into it. And then what I do is I determine, okay, what are the quadrants? How do you determine a quadrant? Well, it's divided north, south, and east and west. So on this particular property, I can determine on this house where all the elements are located and understand how this particular layout fits into that house, right? Now, I didn't do an analysis of the surroundings to see whether there are any mountains or slopes or water elements. I wanted to focus on the specifics of this particular house. So I am going to start to get into some of the defects that are in this house. And so, Olga, if you want to just chime in at any particular point in time to determine whether or not the analysis is correct. So I'm going to say that the first thing that stood out about this property is where the entrances are to the house, right? And if you take a look, this is a southwest quadrant, which is one of the most important quadrants in a floor plan. Why? Because you can see this entrance that is here. This particular entrance is, I'll try to not be so intense about it, but there is no way around it. Is that entrances is one of the most important openings into a house. So if you have a positive entrance, let's say in the north or the east, it's a beautiful thing because it brings in those positive energies. Similarly, in the southwest, which is the convergence of the west and the south, is where the influx of negative energies come in. So for this particular property, for this particular house, you'll find that the entrance for this particular house is southwest. It is one of the most dangerous entrances that you can have into a house. And with people that have southwest entrances, I always tell them, do not use it. The reason why is because imagine if you have the gateway to hell and you had a door that allowed you to open it. Would you open it? No. So the entrances on a southwest quadrant are considerably, have tremendous amount of negative influences onto the householder. Well, what are those negative influences? Depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, character, behavior, accidents, and things which will have an influence of that person's life. That's how severe an entrance from the southwest can be. Okay. I'll let you guys kind of digest that, because in the West, I've seen so many doors with southwest entrances, and 99.9% of the people have major issues with their health, mental stability, their personal well-being, their prosperity, and their relationships. So, having said that, let's move on here. So the other issue, you see this? So that's the entrance. You have an entrance over here. Now, normally I would say this entrance could be a alternative entrance, because I can't tell whether the entrance to this particular area is on the northwest side or the northeast side. I would take this over this any day of the week, right? So I'm going to remove the layers here so that you can leave that there, and just remove the boundaries. So you have the northwest, east, north, south, east, west configuration here. The second issue, for this particular household, I would say use this entrance, don't use this entrance, right? Now, the other issue that is with this particular property is this is the garage. And you'll see that the garage has an entrance to the south, southwest, south, southeast, which for the most part is pretty good. The problem with this particular configuration is that when you have an extension of this garage that extends to the east side of the southeast, what that does is it creates a void or a cut in your northeast. Now, the northeast is the life and the heart of the house. And so let's say if we had this, what this does is, I'll just kind of accentuate here so you can see. This area is missing. This area is lacking a northeast quadrant. So what happens is that as a result of this extension of the garage, because it's a 3-car garage, God bless this household if you have a 3-car garage. I'm lucky if I've got 1, maybe 2, but 3-car garages is a big problem because it extends the garage from here. If you had it from here to here and stopped it and had a wall here, great. It would actually fix a lot of the problems. But because it extends it to one more third here, it's creating an extension in the east southeast, which creates accidents. And when I talked to this particular person, I said, are there any accidents that have occurred in this household that, because it's either fire or accidents or fear or trepidation. And so lo and behold, with this particular household, 2 weeks prior, they had a stroke. And the stroke is intimately involved with the fire element because it deals with the heart. And the heart is what pumps and creates the heat in the system. So I can understand that this extension over here is not good because A, it makes a cut in your northeast. And you never want to have a cut in the northeast. You want to extend it to the northeast. It would be great if one of the solutions that I would put into here is that, okay, can you build this out? Can you make this out and then build it so that it can extend out? But we oftentimes have issues like that. So that's the second issue, is the southeast extension over here. The north, every time you have an extension here, you have a cut in the adjacent area. So you've got entrances, which is really bad. You've got a cut, which is really bad. And you have an extension, which is really bad. So my suggestion on this particular thing is to put a wall here and just kind of eliminate that extension if possible. And that would solve probably the majority of the problems with regards to the house being configured properly. And then instead of using this entrance, I would use this entrance. Okay. So I take a deep breath at this particular point in time, because that's the analysis for this particular property. And if there are any questions that you might have, please feel free to ask them, because that's how we all kind of get to know and get familiar with how Vastu works. Yes, Kaustuki.
So she's got the garage, because I have, unfortunately, a southwest entrance, which I never use, or I try to never use it. But I have a southeast garage. Does she have an entrance from the garage into the house in the southeast where she could just come in and out of the southeast?
Yes. This point right here, it's right here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure is the entrance. So she would come in here, but here's the issue. When you use the southeast, it affects energetically everything in this area. Her issue is that the east side, this third stall is affecting. Let's put it this way. If you were able to just extend this wall this way and enter through here and don't use that, no problem.
Can you use it as a separate space?
Yes. Yeah, you can use it as
because it's blocked
but
off.
the difficulty here is that you have to be very careful, because this garage has one door for all three stalls. And I asked her, I said, oh, do they have three separate doors? She says, no, it's one big, massive door. All right. So you would have to change and make it a double door here. And then you would have a separate door for this unit, but you would only use it from this door, and you would be separated from the rest of the house.
Okay.
So is that clear? So these are great questions. You got to look at it from an energetic standpoint. Okay. You have to see that you can't just ignore it, because you're using it. So if you're using it, the energy of that movement is affecting the whole space. So yes. So do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you spoke about having to add a wall in that space. Now, like for the northeast, is it possible to run like strings to poles or something, or it has to be physical walls where the cut is?
Right. It has to be physical walls, and it has to be enclosed. So so just think of it as an energetic cup.
Right.
You can't just use strings, because animals can move through it. I've seen creative ways, but you have to understand that if you enclose this, it doesn't solve the problem. You have to take this wall, you have to literally move it over here and expand the family room.
I see. Got it.
Vastu is very tricky, and it took me years to really understand it. And even with people who read the book, it can be very confusing, And unless you understand how everything is intimately involved. So if you take a look at this particular floor plan, the energy moves this way. You see that? It goes from the northwest to the southeast. And it takes away the energy of the northeast quadrant. So, and I told this person, I said, your office is in the northwest. I said, you probably don't spend much time there because when you put your energy in the northwest, it's the air element. So when you have the air element, it forces you to go out. It forces you to go and to go to a coffee shop, go shopping, get out of the house, because that's the nature of the northwest. Similarly, if you overuse the southeast, you're constantly, energetically moving and running around. You've got all this energy of the fire element. But you can see there's no peace in this household because there's no established southwest quadrant, very little within this house. So there isn't a lot of stability and there isn't that much prosperity. You make money, but it's not going to be, really flowing in. So that's my analysis of this particular property. So point number one, don't use this entrance. Point number two, change your entrance over here. Point number three is try to create a wall or boundary on this particular. So I'm assuming that this is the wall of the, of the garage. So it's still the same. I can see this dotted line, but this is the whole configuration from what I can see. Because I know for a fact that it's 1, 2, 3 car garage. Got it? All right, we're going to move on. Any questions? Just raise your hand. And so we can move on to the next person. Let's go to the easier one, which is, I'm going to bring up Peter Pointer. Okay, let's bring up that one. All right. Phenomenal. Can you guys see this? Just nod your head. Let me know you can see it. Okay, great. So let me kind of bring up the layers and let me just kind of okay. Now, the reason why I chose this one is because it is tilted by 30 degrees. Normally, you see this north goes straight. So I've got to build a box according to the cardinal directions because everything around Vastu centers around east, which is the sunrise, and it sets the whole configuration for the whole property. From Google Maps that I have a protractor on my Google Maps, and I calculated 30 degrees, which is really on the far extreme. And anybody who lives in a tilted apartment or house, it's very, very, very difficult because everything is energetically tilted and it creates unnecessary cuts and extensions in the inauspicious areas. So on this particular property, you'll see that your southwest quadrant, let me just bring this up so I can do it in stages. Hold on a second. Let me bring up a window layers. Okay. Okay, great. So if you take a look at this, just from its get-go, okay? You got the main entrance over here, right? So what I did was, okay, let's figure out what your boundaries of your property are. This is the boundaries because it goes from one point to the next point to the farthest southeast point and the southwest point, right? See, I'm taking all the points that are the boundaries of the energy of your whole system so that I can determine, okay, well, what's your southwest? What's your northeast and what's your northwest and your southeast? Because everything's contained within those 4 quadrants. So once I've determined that, I can go open and I've created the center point of the north, south, and the east and the west, right? So what that tells me is the following. It tells me that you have extensions into the northwest quadrant, and you have entrances. And I'll just hold on a second. Let me just get rid of this. So what that means is that once I do that, and I know that I can create an internal box. Don't even ask me why I do it. That's a whole nother class. Because what I have to do is I got to do the external and then bring in the internal so that I can determine cuts and extensions. So what does this tell me about this person's property? It tells me 2, 3 major issues. 4, actually. First is that this person's entrance, you see this entrance right here, guys? It's in the southwest quadrant. So this person has a southwest entrance, and like the previous person, it opens the door to a lot of negative energy and not good vibrations into the household. You know, it's depression, negative thoughts, lack of energy. And I talked to this person extensively, and you know, they have issues with their energy because they feel like they're lifting a boulder uphill. And that's what it feels like when you open up the north, the southwest energy, and you've got this added energy and negativity that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So your entrance is here, and unfortunately, this is a, if I'm not mistaken, it's the main entrance, right? So that's the first issue, where the entrance is and what is it opening up the energy, right? As opposed to if you had a northeast entrance over on this side, I would say, okay, it kind of negates and offsets a lot of the negativity in this particular apartment. So the first thing is the entrances. The next thing is the extensions. The west-southwest extensions really has a detrimental effect on the men living in this place. That's the second, and it's an extension in an inauspicious direction, meaning that if this is the containing of your internal Vastu structure, the energy of the house or of the rooms, you see this, the office and the entrance here extend to the southwest, which has a negative impact on the household. As opposed to, so those are two issues here. One is the entrance, and one is the extension in a negative direction. Then the third one is you should have a northeast here, but it's cut. See how this particular configuration, this wall cuts them off of their northeast energy, which is your angelic energy, it's your prosperity, it's your abundance, it's the heart of the household. It is the divine energy and energy that is contained in your northeast. So if you take a look at it, your northeast represents divine energy, and your southwest, you want to minimize any openings and have it be associated more with the earth element. Any questions about this particular configuration? Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we're gonna go to, let's do this. We're gonna bring up Stephanie's house. I'm going to, let me do this. Are you guys completely confused, or are you following me so far? At least the basics. It can be overwhelming, and I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so that you can understand simple concepts like entrances, the placement of rooms. One of the things also that I wanted to point out, you see this over here? Kitchen. Half of the kitchen is located in the northwest, and half of the kitchen is in the northeast. If you watched the video that I created yesterday, what happens when you have a kitchen in the northeast? You might be able to make money and you might be prosperous for a certain period of time, but because the kitchen is the fire element, when you have the fire element in the northeast, which is where the water element should be, what happens is that all your prosperity gets burnt up. So historically, people in this configuration where the kitchen is in the northeast, they'll make money, but they'll quickly, somehow, some way, money will go out. That's the nature of a northeast kitchen. Okay. Any questions so far? I hope I haven't depressed anybody yet. Listen, it's better to know what's influencing you than to be in the dark and asleep and not know what energies are influencing you through your floor plan. That is the secret of Vastu Shastra. It's better to know and be aware of the negativity than to be asleep at the wheel. Because then you can make changes and improvements that you wouldn't have thought otherwise. With this particular floor plan, my easy solution is don't use your front door. See how it feels. Do you see an energetic shift and change? And if you do, that tells you something. Got it? Now, let's go to this particular property. Now, with this particular property, I'm going to divide this up into the land, and then I'm going to go into the house. Now, normally I would say that extensions in the northeast are really good. Okay, but without measuring it, I don't really know. But on this particular property, I suspect that there's a southwest extension, because even though they have a potential northeast extension, I think it's too much. Because what happens is that when you have a northeast extension that extends beyond 50%, it creates a negative extension in the opposite direction, which is the southwest here. If your property on this thing was just this plus this, I would say great. I'd say perfect. But because you've got this little area over here, and that's where the house is, it may be having a negative influence. You understand, Stephanie? Okay. Now I'm going to open up the floor plan. Here. Yeah. I'm going to open up layers. Let's see. Okay, great. So this particular floor plan was handwritten, but I was able to decipher it. And what I did was I divided up the house, okay, and was able to determine, okay, well, where are the quadrants in this particular, okay, so they've got their living room in the southwest, and they've got their entrances I'm going to show you something. This is the configuration of this particular household. And for the most part, this represents the doors of the house, right? So if you take a look at this, southwest is here. This door, I don't know whether or not it's in the southwest, but it could be in the southeast. It just depends on it. What's really good is that in the northeast here, okay, you've got a door in the northeast. I would tell this person, use this door primarily. Don't use this door until you can really measure whether it's direct south, southwest, or southeast. Southeast is okay. Direct south, if it's really direct south and it's equal on both sides, I would say fine. Okay. I would say this one's okay, but I'm going to point out one thing so that you can see this. You see this configuration like the first one that we did. It's an extension in the wrong direction. And it's a north-northwest extension. So you see this? This would be a north-northeast cut. So you're really dealing with two issues here. One is north-northwest extensions creates fighting, misunderstandings, defamation of character, and friction and struggle with other people in the household and outside the household. That's this defect. The fact that you got your north, whenever you have a northwest extension here, you're cutting off your northeast here. That deals with your prosperity, abundance, and overall spiritual and material wealth right here. Because like I said, this is your northeast quadrant right here. This whole area, you cut this off, you cut off your prosperity. You still have got part of it there, but it's being overshadowed by this extension over here, right? And you see in the United States and in Europe that it comes down to, well, where your entrances are, what configuration and extensions or cuts that you're dealing with in your floor plan, and also where your bedroom and your kitchen is located, right? So this particular kitchen is in a good place. The kitchen is in the southeast, which is where the fire element is. The bedroom is in the northwest, which is okay, but I'm willing to bet that this particular person who lives in this particular area isn't at home very often. Stephanie, you want to comment on that?
It's my father, and he actually is, but he goes out a lot. And there is also a bedroom upstairs in the northeast.
Right. Okay. So bedrooms in the northeast are not great. The place that, if you're going to stay in this place, I would get a roll-out mattress and I would sleep in the living room.
I think my dad used to actually on the couch in there.
Right. And he's probably really happy and he had really great sleep when he did that, you know? And it's representative of the earth element. So when someone is sleeping in the southwest portion of their floor plan, they get the deepest sleep. I mean, people that come into my place, they think I'm crazy. I have a bed in the southwest, and I have a bed in the northwest. When I want really deep sleep, I go to my southwest bedroom and sleep there. And I always wind up refreshed and after a really deep sound sleep.
Right.
Northwest is where I go to figure stuff out, where I'm dealing with the air element and I'm looking at thoughts and I want to figure things out differently from the Southwest, right? So am I wrong about the friction in this household?
Um, there used to be this is the house I was born in and raised in. I'm back here after 25 years. So we've gotten really good at that. There is a southwest cut in this too, because this house it has a lot of angles to it
Okay,
and cut. My dad built it. So there is a southwest cut I know also on it.
okay,
Yeah.
right. So my recommendation is, see this door? This is your main door coming in.
Right. We also have another door, like to the left of where your pointer was, because there's a workshop. It's one big space. There's a northeast cut, but we have a east entering door, like entering from the east and entering from the north.
Right here?
Yeah. It's over closer to where that other one is. It's in the northeast quadrant.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so that is our third floor
Thank you.
plan. Yeah, no problem. Um, okay, let's go to the last one, which is Santa Barbara. Yay. All right, so this is north. So the main entrance to this house is where? Here?
It's pretty much in the middle. It's southwest, just a little bit southwest, almost in the middle, but southwest. You can kind of see in the center of in the center of the squares. There's the staircase, but it ends up being. I think it ends up being probably more central or just to the southwest.
Okay. So this is the first one I noticed, the patio. Don't ever use it. It's my recommendation. The person living in the northwest over here, their head is to the south, which is good. But the person here really isn't there very often. The master bedroom, I'm assuming, is here.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
That's well, at least I live in that room.
okay,
Typically with my head facing either. Well, I've played around with it north or south.
okay. Never have it be north, always have it be south in this bedroom. All right. And you'll be peaceful in this room. Uh, but long term, it is not a good solution. Let's put it that way. And the entrance, don't use this entrance. And this person, they're not there very often, are they?
Definitely not in the room. Never in the room really, but yeah, in and out of the house pretty frequently.
Yeah. So that's basically it. Any questions so far, guys? Because that's the fourth Vastu floor plan. Yes, Olga.
I have a question. If I still will use my front door and when southwest, what kind of maybe mantra or protection can I do to walk in?
Nope. The only thing you can do on this particular, I would say close the door, don't ever go through it. I mean, let me just put it this way. Swami Kalshwar had solutions and fixes for things, but they weren't, he really shied away from it. The reason being is that where's the end to compromise of if you start doing that, well, what mantras? There really no mantras for that. He would say, don't use it. Don't even entertain using it. I mean, he came up with several different solutions, like, getting up before sunrise every day without fail. He said, put a Hanuman in the Southwest, this and that. But to be very frank with you, I would never, ever use that door, period, full stop. I mean, I understand there's this thought that says, oh, I can offset it with mantras. I can do a yagyam, but it never really solves the problem because you're fighting the elements. Can you fight the elements? How long can you fight the elements before the elements eventually will win? That's why in Vastu, you want each of the sections of your house that represents an element in harmony with your household. Meaning in the Northeast, open space, water element. In the Northwest, you could put the kitchen. In the Southeast, kitchen. In the Southwest, your main bedroom. And that's really his philosophy. I know some people that put yantras, but I haven't really found it to be effective. And the people that tried it, same thing. So for this particular floor plan, you either extend this wall over this way or create one wall down here.
And Soul West, what kind of element in west side?
Well, if you take a look at this particular, your southwest is very minimal. So there isn't a lot of stability and there isn't a lot of earth element on this property. It's right here. This is where your bedroom should be. And it really is non-existent. You've got a little bit here, you've got a little bit here, but where's your southwest? There's a couple of other solutions that I could give you, but it'd be like park your car, come out, go around this way, and then go to your entrance over here. Or just come in through here and then, cut this off and then enter through here. So it's a bit tricky. It's very tricky.
Is this a two-story house?
Yes,
Where's the bedroom upstairs?
northeast.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you could say yes if the upstairs, but I looked at the upstairs. It was like there's no southwest over there either. It's only in the northeast, which short term, you could survive, but long term, no way. Olga, any questions?
And my sleeping room, which in the second floor, it's in the wrong place as well.
Let me see if I can bring that up. Let's see. Let's see. Let me bring that up. 1 second. Oops. I'll see if I can't bring that up. No, I don't think so. Let's copy. And let's do this.
She also has a fireplace in her family room, which is in the northeast.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Don't use that.
don't use the fireplace, by the way.
Only I
What?
I start use it in a full moon
Yeah, that's good.
often.
Yeah, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna burn away your money.
Okay. Last time I burned my finger, if really, and it happened second time. And I think it's maybe sign I don't need to use it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to, yeah, exactly. So let me just see if I can't.
Okay, so don't use it, fine.
Let's see if I
Mm.
can get this. All right, so you see this? Everything in there is, there's no southwest. You've got one, you've got a bathroom in the northeast as well, Olga, which leads to health issues. And you've got a bedroom in the southeast and a bedroom, two bedrooms in the southeast.
So it's good.
She can use
No?
the bedroom in the southeast.
Yeah, you can put it in the southeast, but you'll go crazy after a while because you'll be so energetic. You'll exhaust yourself.
I thought that was like the second.
Yeah, it's the second one. I would say bedroom number two would be my,
That'd be closer to the southwest.
yeah, closer to southwest. But you can see there's no southwest in this configuration,
And I would use that bathroom too instead of the master bathroom.
right? Right.
Which one bedroom better to use?
This
Two.
one.
Bathroom two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you'll survive bedroom two. And then yeah, that's what I would do. And stay away from that scary room.
So my sleeping room and secret room still in a good place?
It's like I said, you don't have any southwest in this particular property. You really don't. And I would say your alternative is the bedroom number two. Because yeah, it's almost like on the border of, it's mostly in the southeast, a little bit in the southwest, but not by much. Because you have no height and weight in the southwest over here. Nothing, zero. You have all the weight in the north, northeast, and southeast. So yeah. You can always just sell it. Kings County basic, just sell it. Find a new place, build it from scratch. I know once I say that, I get a lot of people that said, well, that's easy for you to say, Paul. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions, guys? And I invite everybody on this call, if you want a further consultation, that's what I do. I built houses from scratch. I have worked with people in apartments. I've worked with condominiums, and I've worked with houses. So I'm available if people want me to help them find a place or to build a place. You can just reach out to me and go to my website. Everything's there, paularye.com. That's ARYEH.com. Listen, I had to plug it in somewhere, right? Okay, guys, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was informative. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon.